welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is a new episode in my long running series where I'm creating 5 meals for under £25 from Aldi. They are always 5 family-based meals for up to 4 people, so a family. I tried to make them as nutritious and delicious as possible whilst remaining on a tight budget. This is my 5 for under £25 haul breakdown for my autumn recipes video. You've joined me at a good time because autumn I go a little bit crazy. I can spend days and days and days just cooking. I absolutely love autumn. So this is going to be my favourite autumn recipes, ones that we love making, that absolutely describe autumn to me in food. Warming, comforting, luxurious, rich, deep, velvety, gorgeous autumn meals coming up in today's recipes. I have to say this has been my most difficult week to remain on budget, and I've barely done it. I've got some amazing recipes coming up in the next cooking video. Today I'm just going to break down my receipt and just give you a rough idea of what you're going to be needing to buy in the supermarkets. Subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss out on the cooking video and also all of the future videos, and let's just get on with it today. I'm gonna go through everything now. I'm rather excited. Got my cup of tea. I'm gonna need my phone because I've saved my recipes that I'm making in a list. I always use the Microsoft to-do list. Recipe number 1 that you're going to be seeing is my infamous, my long-awaited, my highly requested Guinness beef stew. So good. We haven't had this since last year or earlier this year. This is probably the most delicious stew you will ever eat. Lawrence and I have perfected the recipe. So the first thing you're going to need is beef. Now this is going to be the absolute most expensive thing on your shopping list. This is actually going to make 2 recipes. So this is going to feed up to 8 people, which is fantastic. We're really going to fill this stew out with lots of veg. That's what a stew is all about. It's going to have a really thick, beautiful sauce, really rich and velvety. So back to the beef. The beef we got is the specially selected beef roasting joint. You're going to want to get a roasting joint from Aldi. We've gone for the specially selected. This joint of beef, it is going to make 2 different meals for up to 8 people, by the way, but it was £11.91. So it took a huge chunk from my budget this week, which is what made it so difficult, but I have to make this recipe. I've included the price of the more affordable beef joint that Aldi do, and that was £7.50 for a general same average weight. So let's go with the £7.50 as part of the cost. As usual, at the end of this video, I'm going to be breaking down the entire cost, adding it all up and giving you the final value. Then, as it's a Guinness beef stew, we're going to need a dark ale. Now, often Aldi does actually sell Guinness, but they didn't have any, so I've gone for an Aldi version. And this is their specially selected London Porter dark ale. It's silky and smooth. I've never tried it. I do love myself a Guinness type drink, so I'm really excited to try this, but we're going to be using all of this in today's recipe, the Guinness beef stew. £1.49. Going to be needing a carrot or 2. These are quite large carrots, so I'll probably only use 1 carrot. So the carrots from Aldi this week for 1 kilogram, 45p, and we're going to be using carrots in various other recipes. In fact, all the carrots are accounted for this week, which is fantastic. Going to need some mushrooms. So half of these mushrooms are going to be in this dish. The other half of the mushrooms are going to be in other dishes throughout the week, which is great. Now mushrooms are absolutely fantastic for meatying up a meal, if that makes sense. So if you are reducing your meat in each meal and you want to have something to bulk it up and make it as filling and as delicious and with the same textures, mushrooms are your go-to. So we're going to add lots of mushrooms into this dish, and mushrooms £1.30, so it's quite a large punnet, and I did get the everyday essentials. I just need some white onions. These are very small white onions, so I'm going to say about 3, but all of these are going to be accounted for in lots of the meals we're having this week. 55p for this big bag of onions, and they are the wonky onions, everyday essentials. Some potato, because we're going to be making a mashed potato, and so the potatoes this week are 99p for this bag. There's quite a lot in here. We'll make that mash. Cupboard essentials, we're going to be using salt, pepper, milk for the potatoes, maybe cheese if you have it, a stock cube, so a beef stock cube or a veggie stock cube, it's up to you, but I'm going to class those as the cupboard essentials. We're going to be using some garlic to fry the onions with, and the garlic, before I put that away, how much is the garlic? 79p. It's an absolutely wonderful, homely, beautiful dish. I really recommend coming back for that cooking video. It's one that has been highly requested and I cannot wait to make it. Next up, we're going to be doing a chicken thigh easy curry. To me, curry screams cold season. I love curry all year round. However, when it comes to autumn and winter, a warm curry is one of my favorite things. Like, oh, it's just so great. So we're going to be making a chicken thigh curry. So we're going to need a large pack of the chicken thighs. You can go smaller if you're making this for less than 4 people. So chicken thighs, 1 kilogram, £2.35 for this large pack of chicken thighs. You're going to need medium curry powder. The medium packs a little bit of punch, I'm not gonna lie. If you're funny with spice, this has a little bit of, it just has a little kick. I think it's absolutely fine, to be honest. But you're going to need the medium curry powder, which is 79p. And this is going to last you a while. I do believe this should be a cupboard essential. If you're going to have things in the cupboard, I believe having just a general curry powder in the cupboard is a cupboard essential. You're going to need some of the onions, which we've already accounted for, 3 to 4 of those onions. You're also going to need some garlic, which we've already counted for in the price. You're going to need some rice. We've got a couple of rice dishes this week, which is great. So you're going to buy the Everyday Essentials rice, which is for 1 kilogram, 49p. Long grain rice, perfect, makes great rice for a curry. You're also going to need some chopped tomatoes, tinned tomatoes, 38p for this tin. And then there's a couple more cupboard essentials: salt, pepper, olive oil or butter, or vegetable oil, whatever you fry in, and some cumin powder, which I do believe is a cupboard essential as well. And that is going to make you an absolutely fantastic curry, really delicious. And you're going to need a tin of coconut milk. Now, I've actually already made this recipe, I've already filmed it, so I've already used the coconut milk, but the coconut milk is still on the list, and that's 69p. I always get the full fat coconut milk, a little bit more flavour, and Orin, my son, eats these recipes, so I don't like to get low fat stuff, especially for him. And that will be it. It's going to make you a wonderful curry dish, and it's super quick, super simple, definitely like a midweek thing. My 1-year-old absolutely loves this dish. The next recipe this week is chicken and leek pie. It's too good. So you can either have this as a pie or you can have it as a stew. Now, I've priced it up as if it was going to be a stew, but I'm also going to tell you how much the pastry is from Aldi if you want to make it a pie. We're going to make enough actually for it to be a nice big pie with sides, and you're going to have some leftovers to have it with rice or something the next day as a stew. So this one is so economical and so bloody delicious. Obviously, the first thing you're going to need is some chicken thigh fillets. So these are without the skin and without the bones. Makes it really easy to cook with. You often find chicken thighs are more cost effective when buying chicken. I personally much prefer chicken thighs, cost and for flavour. So chicken thigh fillets, £3.55 for this really large pack. And remember, you're going to be making a pie, a large pie, and enough for leftovers, which is fantastic. You're going to need your leeks. So there's 3 leeks in this pack. Try to get a pack with 3 leeks, but they're £1.39. You're going to need some celery for your chicken and leek stew / chicken and leek pie. Celery is absolutely fantastic for like roasting meats, and it's a great vegetable to use at this time of year because it's got a really savoury, salty flavour when you roast it or fry it. What else are we going to need? And we're going to need onions, which we've already accounted for, so lots of onions this week. We're going to need a big chunk of your mushrooms, which we've already accounted for. These go great in making meals last further, last longer. I'm also going to show you how to batch cook this so it can turn into a stew and a pie. Perfect for freezing as well. We've used our leeks, celery, mushrooms, chicken, onions. We're going to be using lots of the garlic, which we've already accounted for. We're going to be using some chicken stock, or you can use vegetable stock. Some of your carrots, which we've already accounted for, and some creme fraiche, which really makes this dish what it is. So creme fraiche is 99p, so we're going to be using some of the creme fraiche. And if you are turning it into a pie rather than a chicken stew, you're going to need some puff pastry, which is really genuinely optional because this really just adds a bit of pastry to the dish. It's up to you whether you want that or not. Pastry ready roll from Aldi is 95p. That is optional though, so it's not going to be in my final cost, but I am going to be making a little optional extras or cupboard essential extras list. So we're going to be serving that with a side of potatoes, so mashed potatoes and peas. Peas are my cupboard essentials or freezer essentials. You must have frozen peas in your freezer at all times. They're just necessary in your day-to-day life. They're cheap, they're good for you, and they're delicious. Then we're going to be making one of my favourite things, vegan sausage casserole. So this can be vegan or vegetarian, but the first thing you're going to need is vegan sausages from Aldi, the rosemary and onion ones. I really love them for slow cooking, they're delicious. They didn't have them in stock when I went yesterday, so I'm going to have to go back before I make that recipe and find them, but the price of them is here, and I will include that at the end. You're going to need some carrots, you're going to need some of your celery, you're going to need some of your onion, you're going to need a tin of butter beans. Beans are really good at bulking out a dish as well. So the butter beans this week are 49p for that tin. It's like chucking it with rain outside. See if you can see. Can you see that? So cozy, I just love it. So you need your tin of butter beans for your vegan sausage casserole. You're going to need some potatoes because we're going to be making some vegan mashed potato on the side. And you're going to need any leftover mushrooms that you might need. And you're going to need some stock, not chicken stock if you're making it vegan or vegetarian. You're going to need some garlic, and then you're going to need cupboard essentials, salt, pepper, butter or olive oil or something, whatever you cook in, and a side of peas. So it's a great dish, really easy to veganize, like super duper easy to veganize. Last but not least, beef and mushroom stroganoff. I know what you wanted to know, what was going to be the rest of my beef. So beef and mushroom stroganoff, so you're going to be using the other half of the beef, which we've already accounted for. It's going to be £7.50 if you get the generic same size one in the normal Aldi range. Then you're going to be using the other half of your mushrooms, or a massive bulk of the mushrooms, and that is all the mushrooms accounted for this week, so no wastage, which is great. You're going to be using celery, again, no wastage, which is fantastic. You're going to be using the onions, you're going to be using garlic, yeah, you're going to be using some of the carrots, maybe potato, maybe not, depends on how I make it. Instead of the chicken stock, if I have a beef stock in the cupboard, I will be using that, but a chicken stock will work as well, or a vegetable stock. And you're going to be using some double cream. Double cream this week cost me £1.09. Some of that can go into your curry as well, so if you don't use it all for that, you can use it for some of the other dishes. And you're going to be using rice. This is such a delicious meal. It's very savoury, very salty, fantastic to make so much, really bulk it out with all your veggies, make lots and lots and lots, and have lots of leftovers the next day. Fantastic. Okay, this is the receipt breakdown. So the receipt's a little bit confusing this week because I did buy some things that I needed. So butter I just needed for the house, that's always an essential. I also needed smoked paprika, which I needed for the house. That was essential. Garlic was an essential. Parsley. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you the receipt of the things I bought, and then I'll put the final cost here of everything. But this is the general shopping list I bought, minus a few essentials and cupboard essentials and things I needed for the house anyway. But this is the final receipt. Okay, so that was the receipt breakdown. As you can see, really pushing it with the budget this week. I hope I've made it really clear in what you will need for the recipes you're going to see in the next video. Hopefully that video will be up with you soon. I've been so excited to share with you these recipes. So yeah, I'm really excited about this week's video. I love this time of year for cooking. It's my favourite time of year. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys again really soon for my next. I hope you're all well and safe, and yeah, bye.